We'll have a meeting.
Are you guys on the phone okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, great.
All right, great. At this time, I'll call the special call meeting of the Perry City Council for Friday, March the 20th, 2020 to order. We have a quorum. At this time, I ask you to stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. I would ask that Mayor Pro Tem King give us our invocation. Councilmember Jones do the pledge of allegiance.
Father, we thank you for the opportunity that we're here to serve the city. And Lord, I ask you right now during this time that we're in, that you give us the wisdom and the knowledge. Every individual be conscientious of what's going on around them, and they follow CDC rules, Lord. I ask you to bless us now. We go forth now with this business. We thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recently did the test for somebody. So he said he still has the copy. Yeah, but it's still fairly recently. Not remembering who. Might have called. Yeah.
I mean, it's been done that way. Can I ask that the members on the phone identify themselves, and afterwards would you please mute your phones?
Yes, Joy Peterson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daryl Walters.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Glad to have you on the phone. We will do what we did on Tuesday night. We will have voice votes since some of our members are attending through a teleconference this afternoon. So with that, we will get started. Item 4 on our agenda is
business. Item 4A is a resolution for the introduction and adoption. 4A is a resolution declaring a local state of emergency in Perry, Georgia. First, I'd like to say, I want to make it perfectly clear that the city of Perry is open. Not only is the city open, and I know that you're having to do business with us a little differently as we try to protect you and our citizens and our employees from the virus. So I know some of it's inconvenient, but we are open. We're looking forward to serving you. That's what we're here for as a service organization for the citizens of Perry. The second thing is that our city commerce is open, and we're following the lead of the state and the governor to encourage you to support that in a way that is safe in following CDC guidelines. We've encouraged our businesses to review the CDC guidelines, to follow those, and also follow social separation rules and guidelines that are in place right now. So anything that we do here this afternoon will have nothing with closing the city of Perry or impacting any of the businesses that are doing business here in Perry. What we have found with our type of government being a weak mayor and a strong council, that policy decisions that are having to be made in a very quick manner given the changing events that we see each and every day. So the request that I'm making of council today is basically administrative, to give the mayor and the city manager the authority to make day-to-day decisions on a timely basis that will protect our citizens as well as the employees. A simple, decision that had to be made was, would we close our facilities down to basically access to our facilities from the citizens and do business with our citizens in a different way? Well, that required a vote of council to do that. So as we're making these decisions each and every day, it makes it very, very hard. We're going to get to the point we probably have to call you in for a special meeting each and every day, and we would like to avoid that. So I think everybody has on their board pack the actual declaration, and we would at this time ask if you have any questions relative to this declaration. Any questions from any council member relative to the declaration? I hear none. Does the press have any questions relative to the declaration?
How long will the declaration be in effect?
It's written that until the situation is abated, and just it'll be some period in the future. At this point in time, we don't know whether that'll be a week or whether that's going to be 2 or 3 months. But we'll be driven by what the national and state guidelines will be relative to that.
And with that, Mayor, our code provides that it will be subject to renewal every 30 days.
Okay. And there you are. It's renewal every 30 days. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Any other questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Bynum Grace?
Yes.
Mr. Albritton?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson? Ms. Peterson? Your vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Sorry.
That's quite all right. Please let the record show that the resolution as stated was approved unanimously by the council. Thank you very much. Item 4B is temporary is temporary modification to employee leave policy. And this is in response to the new law that was passed on Wednesday night and signed by the President relative to family leave. Ms. Newby?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, before you is a City of Perry temporary leave policy modification regarding COVID-19. This policy modification is prepared in response to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, specifically Division C, Emergency Family and Medical Leave Expansion Act, and Division E, the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. As you'll see, we would be expanding the definition of sick leave to include the care of a child of an employee if the school or place of care for the child has been closed due to a declared public health emergency by federal, state, or
Mayor,
local officials.
I'm very sorry to interrupt, but I think someone's not muted again and I cannot hear her.
Okay, we'll place it up, and if everybody will mute their phones, I would appreciate it. Okay, you want to step up here and maybe make it easier? Thank you. We appreciate everybody's understanding and patience as we learn how to use this new technology.
So again, this temporary leave policy modification is being presented to you in response to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. It would expand our current definition of sick leave in the Personnel Management System Manual to include the care of a child of an employee if the school or place of care of the child has been closed due to a declared public health emergency. It would also provide the 80 hours of paid sick leave as required by the Act. If an employee is sent home by a supervisor, there would be an additional hours for fire department employees up to 106, and for police department up to 86 hours. And that's because that would be the equivalent of their 80-hour or 2 work week period. The paid sick leave would also be provided if the employee was ordered to quarantine by a federal, state, or local order, or by a healthcare provider. If an employee is experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 and seeking a medical diagnosis, again, those 80 hours, 106 for a fire department employee or 86 for a police department employee would be provided. And lastly, it just addresses the change that's been made to the Family Medical Leave Act as the Emergency Family Medical Leave Expansion Act, allowing for a qualifying event to include providing care for one's child. With that, the first 10 days would be unpaid unless the employee has accrued sick or annual leave, which they could use during those first 10 days for compensation. After that, the Emergency Family Medical Leave Expansion Act allows up to 10 additional work weeks of sick leave. That would be paid according to the federal act at 2/3 of the employee's average monthly wage. The city may advance the employee additional sick leave to account for the 1/3 difference after exhaustion of all other accrued leave, subject to repayment by the employee in the form of a negative sick leave balance. Does anyone have any questions?
Keep in mind, we're trying, Brooke has, I can assure you, studied very deeply the new law that was passed this week. She has advised us on how we need to change our policy to be in compliance with that law. We are going a little further than the law requires by making everybody whole on their paychecks and allowing them, if they do not have adequate leave, to go into a negative sick leave position to protect them and their pay. So I think it's, Ms. Newby, it's been very well researched. I know we've been talking about it for the last couple of days to make sure we're in compliance. Do you have any questions, council members? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the new work policy as stated by Ms. Newby.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King?
Yes.
Ms. Bynum Grace?
Yes.
Mr. Albritton?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Thank you. Please let the record show that the temporary leave policy modified regarding COVID-19 was approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 4C is the discussion of business license and ad valorem taxes. Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, what we are requesting your authorization is to suspend for the duration of the event the normal enforcement for business licenses and ad valorem taxes relative to delinquency. We have some, very few, but a few businesses that may not have had an opportunity to pay because of the closing to the public access. Our recommendation would be that you all authorize just to suspend the enforcement until we're able to effectively collect or follow up on it.
Council members, what questions do you have about suspending the collection of business license and ad valorem taxes at this point in time? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve this change as outlined by Mr. Gilmore. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King?
Yes.
Ms. Bynum Grace?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Albritton?
Yes.
Thank you. Please let the record show that the business license and ad valorem tax delays were approved unanimously. Does any council member have any other business that they would like to bring forward to the council at this time?
Mayor?
Yes. Ms. Peterson?
I just have a request. That perhaps we could get the minutes from the 2 meetings we've had this week sooner than next month. Could we maybe do that since they were brief? And it would be helpful to me to have the minutes.
Sure. We'll get them to you. Ms. Warren, would you provide
Thank
that? No problem whatsoever. Again, I would thank you. Again, I'd like to reiterate that the city of Perry is open for business, and we hope it's not too inconvenient in the way we're trying to serve our citizens and try to protect our employees and the citizens as well. But I'd also like to emphasize that the Perry business community is open for business. We hope that all business operators will follow the CDC guidelines, and they'll follow the social separation guidelines, and we will be coming for takeout and curbside service, and I think everybody ought to look at doing that to support our local businesses. So we will follow the guidelines of the council relative to the declaration that we've put in place, the emergency declaration, and we will follow through with them with anything that we do. But I can assure you, we have no interest in putting curfews in place or closing businesses or anything like that unless we are given those guidelines through the state or federal agencies. So we look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I appreciate the council's support on this as we move forward. If there's no other business to come before us today, we will stand adjourned. Thank you, folks on the phone.